And early voting is about to get underway in key battleground states with just 72 days away from Election Day now on November 5th. Democrats are coming off of a week of celebrating Vice President Kamala Harris with efforts to rebrand her away from her record at the White House, as new economic and immigration data revealed the disastrous impact their policies have had on America and beyond. The Labor Department divulging this week that it overstated job growth under the Biden-Harris administration by 818,000 jobs for the 12 months ending this past March, the biggest revision since 2009. More downward revisions are coming. And since January 20th, 2021, the Biden-Harris administration has spent more than $7 trillion with the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act, the American Rescue Plan, green subsidies, the forgiveness of student debt, and much more. All the while sending inflation surging, now up 19.5%, while real wages are down nearly 2%. Yet VP Harris is blaming grocers and corporations for soaring inflation, with no mention of her 3.5-year spending spree.
And I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gauging on food. My plan will include new penalties for opportunistic companies that exploit crises and break the rules.
Vice President Harris is also reportedly supporting President Biden's budget plans to raise the capital gains tax to 44.6%, the corporate tax rate to 28%, and reportedly institute a 25% tax on unrealized gains. It's been 35 days, and Harris has yet to release or discuss specific policy plans. Here's former President Trump Friday night in Arizona.
We will end the era of inflation, mayhem, and misery under Kamala and Crooked Joe and unleash safety, prosperity, peace for Americans of every race, religion, color, and creed. Together, we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs, low interest costs, low inflation. And that's for everyone. We're talking about everyone. We want to make sure everyone can afford groceries, a car, and a home.
Meanwhile, new questions this morning into the epic security failures at the assassination attempt on President Trump, as several Secret Service agents were reassigned on Friday for their handling of the Butler rally security. It's been now 43 days since the attempt on President Trump's life, and still very little information is known about the shooter and his motives. Joining me now with more is Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson. He is leading the bipartisan Senate probe on the shooting. Senator, good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here.
Good morning. Good morning, Ramiria.
I want to get to the Kamala Harris agenda versus the Trump agenda and the RFK Jr. news in a moment. But first, do you have any information for us in terms of your own investigation on the assassination attempt?
Well, I'm part of the Senate bipartisan investigation. It's led by the chairman of the committee and the subcommittee. All I can really tell you is the Secret Service, FBI are basically dragging their feet. They're stonewalling us. We've gotten some transcribed interviews, but the documents we request are heavily redacted. They're delivered, the day of the interview, so we really can't use the documents to conduct the interviews effectively. So we're not getting squat, from my standpoint, from the Secret Service or the FBI. We've requested all their 302s, their transcriptions of their interviews with hundreds of individuals. They're not turning those over to us as well. So, Maria, if you want to design an investigation to raise suspicions and drive conspiracy theories, this is exactly how you do that investigation. I mean, I was, it's just jaw-dropping that they released the body for cremation before anybody's seen any autopsy or toxicology reports. Again, it's just driving suspicion and conspiracy theories.
Well, I don't understand why they would release the body before investigators had a chance to investigate that part of it as well. What's the answer there? Is there any accountability for that to move so quickly? We've got more information on the shooting, on the attempted shooting of Taylor Swift's concert than we do here for a former president.
Well, again, they are the law. They hold themselves above the law. They don't really think that they're responsible to be, coming under scrutiny by Congress or the American public. And so this is how they behave. They're the only ones that are going to have access to this information until they decide what information to give us and when to give it to us. They're in total control.
Let me switch gears, ask you about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and this new element. He's joining President Trump's campaign. He's going to be campaigning with him in the coming weeks. How important is that for Trump?
Well, I think it's very important for the campaign. I think even more so, it's very important and very good for America. I've gotten to know Bobby Kennedy during the pandemic. Let me first say he's a very good person. He never sought to champion children's health. It was pretty well thrust on him by moms coming up to him with the science that he simply couldn't turn his back on. He couldn't ignore. And so he became a champion for children's health. And one of the things he's been pointing out during his uncle's administration, chronic illness in children was at 6%. Now it's at 60%. I mean, chronic illness drives our massive healthcare industry, the trillions of dollars we spend on it, and it's been largely ignored, I would argue, because of the corruption, the capture by big pharma, big ag of the federal health agencies and other agencies that are designed to regulate them. It's not working. It's a corrupt process. So I think Bobby Kennedy would be the perfect person to get in there. He understands this. He's sued these companies. He understands how the corruption works. And I'd love to see him as Secretary of HHS on a commission on chronic illness. I mean, there's so many ways that President Trump can utilize him. And again, I know President Trump is concerned about chronic illness. So there are plenty of differences between President Trump, myself, and Bobby Kennedy. But this is the way you heal and unify a nation. You put those differences aside and you do everything you can to focus on the areas of agreement, the big things. And chronic illness is a big thing that we need to tackle together. Yeah,
great points. And we'll see if President Trump were to put him in charge of HHS or FDA or something like that. Certainly, we'll see more developments there. Let me switch gears, ask you about the Kamala Harris agenda versus President Trump's agenda. President Trump is not shy about telling you exactly what he wants to do in terms of tapping into the energy capacity in America, drill, baby, drill, or trying to institute lower taxes by extending those tax cuts. We don't know specifics on Kamala Harris's plan, but we've got lots of ideas because she's blaming corporations for the inflation spike. Your reaction?
Well, first of all, the Biden-Harris administration, their ideology, their policies have put this nation on a path of destruction. Their open borders. We'll be seeing the negative consequences of that for years, if not decades to come. The massive deficit spending, which sparked 40-year high inflation. Now they say they're going to cure it. The war on fossil fuels, which also contributes to inflation. And then, of course, all these things have weakened America, emboldened our enemies, and put the world ablaze. And so Kamala Harris doesn't disavow any of that. She just doubled down on all that. She's talking about massive tax increases. We already have a fiscal cliff. Just extending the Tax Cut and Jobs Act would cost about $4.7 trillion is the current score. She wants to add trillions of dollars more of tax increases to that. It would crush the economy. And obviously price controls never work. They reduce the supply. If you want to tackle inflation, you want to increase the supply of goods. So all those dollars are chasing more goods rather than fewer.
Right. Yeah, Senator, all great points, and I'm glad you brought up the border. We're going there next. Good to see you this morning, sir. Thank you, Senator Ron Johnson.
Have a great day.
And to you.